Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is VT Reseller and I'm your man Topher. Hey, I wanted to share with you guys tonight where I get the bulk of my inventory from. And it's not storage auctions. It is actually private property auctions. And we're going to get into it all right now. So hey, before we get going through all of the different items that we got at this personal property auction, I wanted to take just a few minutes and give you my thoughts on why I do this compared to going to the thrift store or even using the storage auctions as my primary source for getting items to resell. So if this is the kind of stuff that you enjoy watching, please hit the like button. I would love to know that I'm doing this and you're getting some kind of benefit out of it. Even if it's just some comic relief seeing the old bald guy talking about stuff. So I appreciate if you hit the like button and leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts as we go through these different things. So storage auctions, they're great. I love them. They definitely scratch that itch that I have to do the treasure hunting. The downside is that I don't have enough money to buy enough of them to get enough items to keep me selling things on eBay. And probably even bigger than that is I don't have enough room to hold everything, because what I have found so far is that 98% of the stuff that I get in the storage auction is either trash or flea market. You get a couple nuggets out of there and that's about it. Now going to the thrift store, so the thrift store is kind of a different beast. So for me, the drawback is the time. So my time is very valuable. The time I have to spend with my family is very valuable to me. So a typical trip to the thrift store is flipping through a bunch of different clothing racks, looking through pots and pans and toys and books and plates, and that's a lot of time. Especially knowing that you may not get anything at the end of the day. So you could spend 2 hours, 3 hours and walk out of there with one or two things and maybe nothing. So for me, that is not a reliable system. And that was just going to one thrift store, right? There's several that you can go to, but that's another 2 or 3 hour commitment to not be guaranteed to get anything. So I love going. I will keep going. We go we take the family and we all love to go. But as for getting reliable items to resell, that's not where I get it. Where I get it is at these personal property auctions. So all of the personal property auctions I've done so far have been online. So what that means is that I flip open my computer. I'm sitting out in the living room with the family. We're watching TV, eating dinner, talking, whatever we're doing. I can have the auction page pulled up off to the side. I can flip through the items, see what I want to see. I'm able to see the pictures, and you'll see some of the pictures coming up here. So you can see what I see. You're able to get at least some idea most of the time on what a comp would be if you bought it. So that gives you some idea of what your kind of your top dollar would be. And then you bid, you win, you drive wherever you got to drive to go pick it up. You load it up and you drive right back home. Now, the vast majority of these, I don't leave my town to do. There's enough of them around here that I'm able to stay in my town to do this. So that means I'm driving maybe 10 or 15 minutes away at most. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the personal property auctions. If you haven't looked into them, I encourage you to check them out, see if that's a viable option for you. And so now let's do what we've all been waiting for. Let's get into some of these items and see how we did on this personal property auction. All right, so the first item that we're going to get into is the basket of computer accessories. So for this item, I paid $6. There's a 10% buyer's premium on all of these items, so that turns that into $6.60. So that's something you keep in mind. when you're bidding, particularly on the things that end up costing you a little bit more money. That 10% can add up fairly quick. So you can see the first thing that caught my eye was the 901 printer ink box. I'm betting that actually has ink in it. And the other thing I see is, I actually see two of them, is the green Kingston box, or the plastic that says the 1 gigabyte DDR memory of some kind. In my mind, I'm thinking I can flip that at least for $6 to $8, $10, and I've got two of them. So that should, with what I can see, my bet is that I can turn this into at least $15 to $20. So first thing, the basket. So the basket is incredible. It's made out of, it's got a particle board bottom. I can take this to the flea market and I'll turn this into $5 really easy. So that's the basket. So here's the RAM. You can see it does say the 1 gigabyte on it. But this is what I couldn't see in the picture. And so this is part of the bet that you make when you buy this stuff, when you can't see everything. So what I thought was brand new, it's actually been opened. So I don't know if this actually has any more value to it or not. I'm sure it's got value to somebody, but I just don't know if I'm gonna have the resources to flip this for any kind of money. Here is the printer ink, and it is brand new. You can see, never been opened. So this is something that I could probably turn into $5 to $10 on eBay fairly quick, and that's what I plan on doing. The next thing that you can see in the box is the CDR, and these are music CDRs. It has been opened, so this is not brand new. You can see that we're missing some of them. If this was brand new, you can get some actually fairly decent money out of these, but with this being open and missing some of them, I don't know that this is actually going to be worth a whole lot. I'll take it to the flea market, and if I can get a couple bucks for it, I'll get a couple bucks. But remember, for this whole basket, I'm only in it for $6.60. So I think we're going to be okay regardless. All right, so the last thing in the box was actually, or in the basket, was actually kind of a mystery, and it was this. And this is kind of, so this is, first off, a really nice plastic tote with a lid. So you can take this to the flea market if you wanted to sell it and get a couple dollars for this. I'm probably going to keep it because having a nice tote with a lid, even if it's small like this, I sell a lot of small stuff, so this would actually be nice just to help keep my inventory straight. But inside there's what you can't see in the picture. There is this. So you can see that this is 110 color. This is basically the same thing. I don't know if I can do much with this because it doesn't have the actual box. But again, here is another $10 or so. So I think we're going to be in good shape on the box. All right, so the next item on the list is the golf tee and wooden puzzle. You can see the picture of what I saw up here. There's not much else in the box, but what I wanted this for more than anything is this. So this is the size tote that I use a lot of. It helps me keep all my inventory straight. Everything, the tote and everything in the box, I paid $1 for, so that's $1.10 out the door. So what's actually in here is this little game where you try to put the golf ball on the tee. I've been playing with this for a while now. It is absolutely maddening, but at the same time, it's kind of relaxing. So I'll keep this in my office. The other two things that are actually in the box are this. And this is a cool little gadget thing that I believe, if I remember right, this is called a Jacob's Ladder. So it's just a fun little puzzle game. And then this creepy looking back massager. So this is great. We'll take this to the flea market. I'll throw $1 on both of these, and I've just doubled my money. And I got a tote and a game out of the deal. So it's hard to argue with that. Okay, so the next thing on our list is called 2 ironing boards and steamer. So you can see up here in the picture that we've got a full-size ironing board, and there's a little, what looks like a metal hanging thing. I'm not sure even what that even is. The small ironing board, and then the weird looking little steamer thing. So that was a bit of a mystery to me. So in situations like this, I do my best, and I'm not very good at it, but I do my best to only bid on what you can see. But I knew, since it said it was a steamer and it's handheld, you can go on eBay and you can look up handheld steamer and at least get some idea what that is worth. So let me show you what we ended up with. So this is actually what we ended up with right here. So this is called My Little Steamer. I believe I tested it out. It works great. Based on what it looks like, I may have been the first person to ever use this. So it's got the bag, the little carrying pouch, the storage pouch, and the steamer. These go for anywhere from $20 to $25 all day long on eBay. So I'm happy with this. And the second thing is kind of a mini ironing board. It's like a little tabletop ironing board. I'm actually going to keep this. This is something that I can use in our Depop store. I don't have a whole lot of room where I stage our clothes to go through and set up a full-size ironing board, but I do have a small area that I can set up a tabletop board, so this is going to help me a lot. I'll take the full-size ironing board with me when we go to the flea market, and I'll get $5 or so for that. I feel like that'll be a fairly easy sell for $5. So that's where we ended up with that. Oh, and the let's see. So the ironing boards and the steamers and the steamer I spent $6 on. So that's $6.60 that we spent. All right. So the next thing on our list is the fishing knife and folding knife. So I have kind of a soft spot for folding knives. You can see that this knife right here is nothing special. It does have a very pretty wood handle on it. The brand of it is Bullet. It's made in Pakistan. I don't think it's worth a whole lot of money. My dad, though, he always collected knives. He had an awesome knife collection, and it's still fun to even kind of go back and dig around through some of his old knives and just see what, kind of have those memories. So this was mostly for me. Here is the fishing knife. It's brand new, never been opened. This is a fairly cheap knife. It's not worth a whole lot. I'll take this and I'll get a couple dollars at the flea market for it. But I spent $4 on this, so that's $4.40. I'll probably get two of that back here. I'm not going to sell this. This one's for me. All right, so we're down to the RCA Autoshot camera. You can see what I can see here. So the first thing that I see is a camcorder and I see a nice bag. Now, there wasn't enough information that I could see to really target exactly. I wasn't able to see the exact model number on this camera, but I was able to get enough information about it to know the basic type of camera that it was. RCA is a good brand. It's got the bag. So in my experience in the past, typically if it has a bag, it has the cords and accessories that come with it. So I felt pretty good about it. The camera itself, I ended up spending $5 on, so that's $5.50. So this is what I ended up with. You can see the camera right here. RCA Autoshot camera. This is the model CC6251. There's not a lot of comps on this when I actually was able to go on eBay and see what this exact camera is worth. It looks like it ranges anywhere from $30 to $40 if you have the bag and all the accessories with it. So just to kind of give you an idea of what the accessories were looking like. So this has got a couple tapes. It has the cassette case that you were able to put this into your VCR, so you don't have to plug the camera in. You could actually load this into your VCR. And then it's got the batteries and the battery charger, all that, and it has the instruction manual. So this instruction manual alone makes this exponentially worth more money, because a lot of the times this is the one thing that you're missing. So it's really nice to actually have this to go with it. So I feel comfortable saying that we're going to do $30 to $40 on the camera. And most of the comps that I saw were having the customer pay shipping. So I'm able to turn that $5 into $30 to $40. So that's actually a pretty good deal. Okay, so the next thing we have is the bowling ball and shoes. So you can see exactly what I was able to see right up here. I have a bowling bag, I can see a bowling ball, and I can see a couple shoes, or a pair of shoes in there. So this is what we ended up with. So all in all, I'm in this for $5.50. I paid $5 in the 10% fee on that. So the first thing we got, obviously, is we've got a bag here. This is a really nice vinyl Brunswick bag. I think the bag itself is probably going to be in the neighborhood of $10. The buyer will pay the shipping on that. You can see it just needs a little bit of cleanup. You can see where it's been in the garage. It's a little bit dusty, but all in all, the bag itself is in great shape. So that's a great find. The next thing that was in there is a pair of shoes. So these are Brunswick Eagle. You can see on the bottom that it doesn't look like they've been worn more than once. They're in phenomenal condition. I think I can turn the shoes into an easy 10 or 15 bucks. Okay, so the last thing in this lot is the actual bowling ball itself. You see, this is an Ebonite Zoom. The ball itself is in excellent condition. It's got no chips, no scratches. It just needs to be polished up. It is pre-drilled, obviously. So this is the ball they used when they went to the bowling alley. So being pre-drilled like this makes it a little more difficult, because you actually got to measure the holes, and it's got to fit your fingers. I was kind of surprised though that that this exact ball is selling in the neighborhood of $20, and with $20 shipping. So it is heavy. It feels like it's a 12 or 14 pound ball. So it's going to be expensive to ship, but it looks like the customers don't mind paying the shipping on it. So we'll do that all day long. So pretty good. We got the bag, the ball, and the shoes. Okay, so the next thing on the list is the CB radio. This is the most expensive thing that I paid for. It was $12. So you can see right here that it is the Midland 77-088 model. You can see what I was actually able to see in the picture right up here. It was a little obscured, so again, I took a bit of a chance on this one because I couldn't see the model, I couldn't see the brand. All I could see is that it looked like it was newer. It wasn't one of the older ones. And actually, I didn't want to spend a lot because it wasn't one of the older ones. Those older CBs can go for a lot of money. It is newer. It does have the cigarette lighter power instead of having to hardwire in. It's got the microphone on the side of it over here that you talk with the microphone. And this one actually came with the antenna. It's got the super heavy duty magnet, so it can go up on top of the car and you don't have to worry about it blowing off. Okay, so that brings us to the very last thing on the list. You can see the last thing that I got was a box of books. So I am an absolute sucker for books. I love getting books. Typically they don't go for a lot of money when you're at the auction, unless they have pulled out specific books that they know to be very desirable. So typically with the books, what I can see in the picture up here is that it looks like it's an older set of books, or at least the ones that they put up on top of the box are older. Generally, I can profit at least $1 per book. I tend to sell books for, even if I sell them for 99 cents or 49 cents, I'll typically do $3.50 shipping. If it's a smaller book, if it's a larger, thicker book, I'll do $5 shipping on it. I'll sell them all media mail, and that gives me at least $1 profit. Even if I gave the book away and they just paid the shipping. So the books tend to do okay. If there's a decent enough book in there that looks like it's got a comp and is going to be sellable, I will throw some of those up there. If not, I spent $2 on the whole box. My mom loves to read, so I will just give her the box of books and let her have fun with the books. If I can make my mom happy for $2, I'm going to do that all day. If I can cherry pick a good book off the top, though, and get my money back, I'll do that too. But for $2, I have no problem giving that box of books to my mom. All right, so we can see at the end of the day, we ended up spending $45.10 at the auction. Conservatively speaking, we're going to be in the neighborhood of $140 on our selling price. I tried to approximate some fees over here after eBay takes their 15%, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be looking like, more of a kind of a net sales. So it ends up being a really good, it's a win. Like I said, this is where I have got the bulk of my items to resell on eBay for. I've got just nothing but good things to say about these personal property auctions. The ease, how quick it is to turn it over. You drive, you pick up what you want, and you drive back home. It's just that easy. It's the easiest thing to do by far. So if you haven't looked into these, I highly recommend you looking into them. You can do any kind of a web search for just personal property auctions. A lot of times your real estate companies. So the one that I use here locally is Bob Parks. It's a real estate company, but they have like an auction division, so that they'll auction off the house and the contents is usually how it works. So like I said, I don't have enough good things to say about this. If you're not using this as a resource, I think it's at least worth your time to look into it. It can save you a lot of time. For me, is almost more valuable than the money. So if this is the kind of content that you enjoy seeing, please hit the like button. Let me know. I appreciate it. If you have comments or anything that any questions, drop that down in the comments, man. That would be great. I'd love to have the discourse with you. So until we get to meet again, guys, be safe, and I'll see you later.